Hi, I'm Spencer,
And I'm Blake.
and you're about to get jumped.
Welcome to episode 268 of Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, a weekly podcast where we watch the anime so you don't have to.
But you should still totally watch the anime.
This week on Get Jumped, we're watching Naruto Shippuden, episodes 329 through 333, plus the first three episodes of Undead Murder Farce, where people's heads are showing up, grafted onto shoulders, and living inside of bird cages.
Well, I will say, when you say people, I don't want to like say something like uncouth, but like when you're
like
a
you're gonna push
headless
through
immortal, or when you are a mortal person that has been brought back from the dead and then fused with other things, are you really a person anymore? We're really getting into like the undead peoples. And like, you know, what kind of rights should zombies really have? You know, just because they come back and demand brains, should we be going out of our way to provide brains?
Are we required to provide brains as a human rights issue?
Yeah, I'm really running on a no give brains to zombies platform. So vote for me in 2026. Anyways, jump in.
Wow, the midterm elections are really off like a shot here at Blake and Spencer Get Jumped.
I wanna really run on a no zombies platform. No zombies all the time. I don't support these zombies and their brain loving. Anyways, hey,
this message
let's get
sponsored
right
by
into this because
this message been approved by Spencer Miller for Congress.
Yeah, right. Anyways, I didn't watch anything else other than the anime that we watched this week, and that's mostly because I am addicted to the game Slay the Spire. So I'm also trying to convince Blake to also get addicted to Slay the Spire.
so that spire can get slayed the house down boots.
Yeah.
The only anime I watched outside of our regularly scheduled programming was I made good on my progress from last week. I've been watching a bunch of Digimon Beat Break, which is, if you don't remember, the current season of Digimon that's airing right now that received a resounding positive review from me and a surprising positive review from Spencer. It's real good. I'm not caught up yet. I don't know how many episodes are currently available. But one of the things that I think has been really, really excellent about the show so far is the animation quality is very, very high. And I definitely, now that I'm in the teens, I'm starting to see corners being cut a little bit, which is a bummer. But it's still a really good show. So it looks like there are 28 episodes available, and I've watched 17 of them. So I am doing well, but still have a good chunk of story that I am not familiar with yet. I believe it's estimated, but not yet confirmed, that the series is going to cap out at around 49 episodes. So it's still got a good way to go, both for me to catch up and for new episodes to come out. It's really good. I guess I was starting to complain that I'm seeing corners cut. I'm seeing animation quality dip a little bit. It definitely is a little bit of an unpleasant surprise after the first chunk of episodes were all really high quality, really beautifully animated. I think that this is still a well-made show overall, but there's definitely some loss of smoothness to some of the moments. I still think the action scenes look real good. And so far the storytelling is just top tier. It's really good. Not just for a Digimon show. I think if you have not been a Digimon fan, you would enjoy it, which I think is echoed by Spencer's review when we covered the first 3 episodes. But I'll say, yeah, it's hitting a lot of the beats that really, really good seasons of Digimon have hit previously, and it's doing it in new and exciting ways. So can't recommend it enough, and I've been really enjoying that.
Yeah, Blake turns out to like Digimon. Anyways,
yeah, shocking.
This week we got to watch a fucking gem as our opening for our screen time. We watched Undead Murder Farce.
Uh-huh.
And Blake, tell us a little bit about the show.
All right, this was submitted, mentioned on our Discord by user Wolfslore. It is a Japanese novel series that began publication in December of 2015. The manga adaptation of the novel series began in June of 2016, and it transferred from a couple different places. I think it is complete. It's compiled in three print tankobon and five digital tankobon. I don't know why those numbers are different, but there you go. The anime TV series was produced by Lapin Track, and it aired from July to September of 2023. I had not heard of this. It's been a couple years since it came out. I'm a little surprised I haven't heard of this based on what we watched. And before I pass it back your way, Spencer, I will say the word farce in the title here made me really, really nervous for what we were going to get, and it was not what I expected.
Yeah, so it is it is arguably one of the best short pieces of an anime that I have seen in a long time. I watched the first three episodes of it. I will watch the rest of it now. It is a very, very well done. I mean, it's a fantasy anime, but
Mm-hmm.
it's done in a kind of like almost like a comedy horror esque, like a gothic horror feel to it, and it just is done beautifully. From the very start, you have good animation, you have good writing, you have good fight sequences mixed with like a good emotional background of what's happening inside of the show, and it just doesn't fall off. Every single episode kept me completely attached to it, interested in what was going on, interested in the lore of the world. It really hits on all cylinders. And I think this is one of those, if you want to pick up a I would call it a small anime.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, if you wanted to probably cover this at like a casual pace, you could probably finish it off in a month. If you wanted to be somebody that's like a binge watcher, you could probably watch it all in the span of like 2 or 3 days. So if you want to pick up something really fun, fantasy, with a little bit of like a comedy horror background, it's really really solid.
Yeah, I am going to echo pretty much everything you said. I was really taken with this. I think we've neglected to mention the premise, which is there's a guy that's a half Oni who's part of a freak show who is approached by a maid carrying a covered bird cage, which turns out to have the disembodied head of an immortal in it. The immortal requests that the half Oni kill her because there is an immutable quality of Oni that they are able to inflict wounds that can't be healed from. And so he might be able to kill her. She, in exchange, will prolong his life by sharing some of her bodily fluids with him. This is shown in the first episode in the form of a kiss. Because she's an immortal, it immortalizes his human cells to a certain extent, and otherwise the half Oni-ness of him will consume him and turn him into a full Oni, and then he'll go berserk and kill everyone. This seems to
Yep.
be on his radar, and he's basically okay with it, but her proposition entices him specifically because he has vague memories, Wolverine style, of having been turned into a half Oni by some mysterious motherfucker, which seems to be the same guy who contributed to this immortal being decapitated and her decapitated body being, stolen away for, I don't know, research or whatever. So he sees a chance to get revenge and convinces her to continue to survive while they go on a quest together. And then they go into episode two, starts the first, I guess, like real arc of the show, in which they have become famous paranormal investigators of a sort, and they are hired by a family of vampires to figure out who killed one of them. And
Yeah.
I love that shit. I think as Spencer said, it's a fantasy series, but it is definitely a Victorian fantasy. This is not sword and sorcery. It's not ancient Japan. It is a little bit more modern, kind of a Dracula times vibe. And I really like that. I think that's a period of time that doesn't always do it for me, but when it's combined with gothic horror, I tend to respond really well to it. And I would agree. Yeah, I think that the characters here are really well done. I think that the dialogue is really interesting. There's very little uh, unfortunate content that you sometimes have to, grit your teeth to get through in anime. And the partnership between the main characters is really interesting, but also the setup of that second and third episode were interesting enough that it's like it was giving me Agatha Christie vibes, where the half oni disembodied head partnership was sort of serving as the investigator arriving at a mystery, but a mystery with a supernatural twist. In this case, it's vampires. And then you proceed to learn a little bit about this vampire family and how they live and interact with the world around them. And you get some of the rules about how vampires work, but it's not done in an info dump. It's done in an investigation, and it's really, really well managed. And it was so interesting. And then at the end of episode 3, you don't know who did it. And I was really upset about that because I wanted to know, because I was really invested in this story. And I just think it's great. And looks like the anime is 13 episodes. So yeah, very bite-sized, easy to consume. I'm pretty confident that I will return to this. And unlike usual, I started watching this while my husband Pete was cooking. If you haven't been listening long, Pete's not an anime person, but he started watching some anime with me, specifically Jujutsu Kaisen Kaiju number 8 and Fire Force, and he's been enjoying those. So usually I save my watching the review anime for times when he's not around, and I was like snagging an episode while he was cooking, and then I just kept it playing because he seemed perfectly happy with watching it, and that kind of like gothic horror vibes with him, but also it was like well made. It wasn't trying to do too much. It has comedy moments, but they're really organic character comedy moments. They're not the sort of like cutaway gags, isn't this funny because they're drawn silly and they're acting ridiculous moments that you usually get. It felt so much better. This was really good. I also think this could be live action and I would enjoy it just as much. This is excellent.
Oh yeah, it definitely could be.
This is one of my favorite things we've watched
it's
this
one
year.
of those it's one of those shows that just like if it was just like a live action fun show, it would be fantastic too.
Yeah, you could do
Anyways,
a live action adaptation of this on a streaming platform. It would be great. You could do a series of movies like they tried to do with Agatha Christie stuff a few years ago. It'd be great. Like this is a good story conceit, and it's told really well here. And yeah, I didn't mention, but I get a cosign as well. The animation is gorgeous.
yeah. Well, it appears that it is that time again, Blake. To put on your Naruto hat and tell us what happened previously on.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Am I ever?
No. Anyways, 3, 2, 1, and go.
Naruto is a ninja in training. The ninja world in which he lives is currently at war, where all the big ninja villages have gathered together to fight up against like 3 people. And those 3 people have been using a reanimation jutsu to bring all your favorites back from the dead to fight on their team. And that's led to some interesting and sometimes less interesting conflicts. Naruto is currently facing off against the mastermind behind this, a character who's been going by Toby, but then revealed himself to be the long thought dead Madara, but then recently was revealed to definitely not be Madara, because on a different battlefield, the real Madara has been actually revived from the dead that he was actually dead for. and is now fighting against the 5 Kage, who are the leaders of their respective currently united ninja villages. So we've got those two main battles going on. Naruto also has a giant fox demon inside of him that he's recently made peace with, that's unlocked a new level of power, and he might be making additional peace today while they fight against the other big giant beasts.
I said time, you fool.
I was finishing. How dare you?
All right. Let's start with episode 329, Two-Man Team. This episode is all about fist bumping the big monster that lives inside of you.
They also, the dub version at least, has Naruto routinely saying phrases like, grab the rod, and I could not handle it.
Yeah. So this episode, it really comes down to like the Toby's gonna do a lot of standing around on top of a giant statue.
He's overseeing. He is the boss. He's overseeing the battle. Yeah. He's not participating.
He's very managerial.
It's one of those things you'll see people complain about a lot that makes more sense in some contexts than others, where you're like, you have a big group of villains that all take turns fighting the hero. And it's a little bit like that, where like he does definitely have a group of villains fighting Naruto in unison, but like he's definitely the most powerful and dangerous of them all, and he's not fighting at all.
Yeah, this episode starts out with you finding out that that just because he pulled out the rod that was in the neck of Son Goku, the giant ape tailed beast, it still isn't going to actually sever him from the connection and the hold that Toby has over him, because there is a much more powerful connection that is stabbed through, I'm assuming, the heart of all of the tailed beasts, because the way that it's shown is like a giant anchor through the center of their chest, and like a giant like spiritual chain that goes from their back.
I got the impression that there were two things at play here, and I'm not sure which is which. One is the control rods, which we have seen be used by Pain most famously. And these control rods are like chakra filled or chakra sensitive objects that are inserted into a body and allow you to assert control over that body. So when the rod
over a long distance too.
Yeah.
As if you were controlling a puppet.
Yeah. So when the rod is inserted inside you, you're under their power, and you should remember that. There's also the big ol' statue. And that seems to be relevant here, but I don't understand the nuances of when the statue is more or less relevant compared to the control rods. Because the ghetto statue is the thing that has been established to absorb and store the essence, being, whatever, of these beasts. So the Akatsuki, under the leadership of Toby, has been going around and collecting these things like Pokemon. And the ghetto statue is the PC that you can access at the Pokemon Center that holds all your Pokemon that you've caught. And so at some point, whether or not the control rods are in play, Toby still has a certain degree of control over them. But I guess so, describing it, I'm thinking that the control rods allow him to manipulate the beasts as his pawns in the battle, and that without those rods, their wills might be too strong for him to have full control over them, but he can always recall them into the statue because he is their original trainer.
That's what I get the impression of, is that, like, think about them as either in the mode of like an attack mode, which they're released from said giant monster statue Pokeball.
I choose you.
They need these rods in order to think of the rods as if they are gym badges. If you have them, they will listen to you and obey you in the fight. and if they don't have them, they're going to do their own thing.
Uh-huh.
But the other part about it is that instead of being like these living beings when they're inside of the ghetto statue, I believe what they are when they're inside of it is more like a power plant. So they act as just like a chakra battery for this gigantic monster statue thing. So
Yeah,
that's what it appears to be, at least to me.
you're probably right. My caveat with that is that the statue hasn't done anything except absorb and spit out the beasts. So it could be just a storage thing, but I think at some point the chakra as a battery thing will become relevant with this big statue. But so far
Yeah,
we've only
I
ever
think
seen
so.
it used to absorb, store, and then expel the beasts from inside of it.
Anyways,
Anyway,
Son Goku is going to give a little bit of his chakra to Naruto via a fist bump. And then Kurama is going to, much in the sense of like somebody that is a badass but just wants to be friends, is going to have a conversation with Naruto. He is going to begrudgingly be like, please be my friend sort of situation. And finally get a fist bump from Naruto. And then Naruto is going to open up the seal that is within him to make it to where Kurama and Naruto can share full amounts of chakra. Instead of it just leaking out from inside of the seal through it, he can now fully absorb with Kurama and become, a giant fox cloaked monster beast.
yeah, we've seen
That is
him.
so strong.
We've seen Naruto cloak up before and have a varying number of tails, and the more tails there are, the more fox-like he's been, and
Yeah.
consequently, the more out of control he's been, because
Mm-hmm.
there's this interplay between the sort of rage and destructive tendency of the giant fox demon Kurama, and the sort of takeover that is happening in those moments. And this removal of the seal is like Naruto saying, like, from now on, our relationship is one of partners and friends rather than prisoner. And yeah, this like nine-tailed form is just basically the fox demon manifesting himself through Naruto's body. It's a total seed change, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And he is so powerful that he is going to be able to single-handedly take care of all of the other beasts that are around him. He's going to be able to pull out the control rods that are all in
Grabbing
different parts
rods
of their
left and
bodies,
right.
controlling them.
Grab that rod.
Um, and in this connection moment, he is able to go inside of this spiritual realm and meet with the Jinchuriki and with the tailed beasts. And he gets to talk to them all at the same time. They give them in the I find this like, yeah, it's kind of cool, but at the same time I'm like, God, if they had like a moment in an anime that was going to be like everybody sitting around a boardroom table and being like, say your name and say where you came from and an interesting fact about you moment. Like,
This is the
they're just
corporate icebreaker moment.
yeah, they're just like us going around the table and they're just like, this is my name and this is what I do.
I'm the
And
Three Tails, and
it's
I like to crochet on weekends.
yeah. My least favorite part about this, by the way, is that after this episode, each subsequent episode is gonna start with this dumb little chibi Naruto moment
Yeah.
where he's gonna like rap off the names of the different beasts and
Yes,
stuff,
but
so that you can remember and collect all your new toys.
but in a sing-song way. And the other weird
Yeah.
thing about this is that it is not dubbed, and it's not subtitled. So
Yeah.
if you're watching the dub on Hulu, where I'm watching it, it's just a part that you don't get to understand. Like, if you've listened to Japanese before, like, I don't speak Japanese, but I've done a lot of Duolingo and I've watched anime for many years, and up until recently have watched it primarily in the dubbed version, like I can hear the cadence enough, especially when he's sing-songing here, to hear when he says the name of the beast or the name of the Jinchuriki. So I know what he's up to, but like it's just so weird. It's such a weird addition, and it feels like such an afterthought because it's like I'm watching the dub, and the opening song has subtitles, and the episode is in English, and this part is neither. It's in Japanese. There's no subtitles. Just skip through it if you don't want to sit through it, which I did not.
You know what one of my favorite things is about this though, and I was just like, oh, I see what you did here, you jerks.
Uh-huh.
The episode lengths of the episodes does not change. From this episode to the next episode, it's just less content, and now they have a new piece of filler to add as a piece of fluff at the beginning of each episode.
Free 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they can replay over and over again. They only have to animate it once, but they can use on every episode.
Yeah, that's I don't like I mean, conspiracy theories are fun, but I don't really believe in any of them. But this one, I think you've convinced me.
Yeah. Well, after they introduce themselves, they're all going to be sucked back into the ghetto statue.
Yeah.
There's one giant beast bomb that happens, by the way, that Naruto counters with another beast bomb. By the way, just looking at what's happening to this beautiful natural landscape,
I know.
it's going to be horribly devastated by these giant atomic bombs that have been dropped at every point.
Mass deforestation and absolute environmental disaster, unmitigated, one might say.
Yeah. But the end of this episode, they're just gonna have like this standoff moment where Toby is standing on top of the Getu statue, and the Naruto and his two mooks, Kakashi and Mike Guy,
Yeah.
are just standing there like facing off. And Toby has this moment where he's just like, "Does he make me sweat, or has it just started to rain?" And he's just like, "Oh, it's just rain." And I was just like, "You fucker!
Yeah.
You're trying to steal that fucking line from Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist." It's just like, no, you were crying, you bitch.
It's also Naruto's gonna taunt him in a way that I understand from a meta standpoint because it's very Naruto. But in universe, I'm like, what are you accomplishing here? Because Naruto's like, Toby is like, you may have thwarted my use of the beasts, but number one, Naruto's new Fox Cloak powers are very draining, and he de-Fox Cloaks at the end of his big conflict with the beasts, and you know, then Toby is forced to recall them because he took the control rods out, so they're kind of back to square one, except that Toby hasn't done a thing and is, full energy, and Naruto has been working his ass off and is tired. And Toby's kind of like, you've been working your ass off and you're tired. And Naruto's like, oh yeah, well, I just learned a bunch of people's names. And it's like, okay, like,
Yeah.
that's not gonna help at all. And like, okay, so I guess we skipped over the part where like Son Goku shares chakra with Naruto. We talked about that, but the other tailed beasts also share chakra with Naruto. So now he has received a little chakra souvenir from all of the tailed beasts, maybe not including the eight tails. I don't remember.
Yeah.
We also skipped over the fact that Kurama remembered back in the day when all the tailed beasts were lull, and they're basically sort of like cuter, slightly cheapified versions of themselves, except for the seven tails, which is an insect, and so it is like a worm version of itself, and I thought that was a really cute touch. But they remember, like, they were originally created and fostered by the Sage of Six Paths, and the sage told them that there would one day come a person who would show them the way or something like that. And now Kurama and I guess the rest of them are convinced that it's Naruto. That's cool. This is great. This is standard Naruto shit. It works well enough here. But yeah, Naruto boasting like I have the upper hand because I learned a bunch of names. It's like, all right, I don't know what that's gonna get you, man. And we do not see what the result of that may or may not be in these episodes. Like it just doesn't come up again.
Yeah. That's going to take us into episode 330, The Promise of Victory. Hey, guys, did you want to watch an episode where everybody is running? It tells you almost nothing
Yeah,
except for everybody's running, and also the shinobi that are that are sending out the the telekinetic messages.
yeah, the cell phone
They're having
shinobi.
a hard time too, you guys.
It's hard to be an old timey, but maybe modern, but it's a different world with different technology cell phone. It's hard.
Yeah. I also want to point out that if you are also watching the dub of these episodes, you will also be completely confused why Spike Spiegel is talking to you the whole time.
Yeah.
It's
Spike
a
Spiegel and
random guy.
Edward Elric are both pretty prominently not huge characters in these episodes.
Yeah, I get it. You know, voice acting.
Yeah,
You're gonna take a role that comes along,
yeah,
but like, man, oh man, was I distracted by having like, two of the most important voice actors that I've ever heard voicing characters that I'm just like, I can never force myself to remember the names of these
I
characters.
don't know your name. I don't think you're that relevant. Your voice actor is like one of the heaviest hitters in the industry. Like, what's going on? Yeah,
It's
this.
just like
No, go ahead.
you have that moment where you're just like, man, they're doing a great job. Also, I won't want to skip this episode.
Yeah, this episode is not quite filler. I wouldn't be surprised if there's filler in there, but it's a table setting episode, but they take the full episode length to do the table setting. And it's
Yeah.
just like all you need to know is that we're not going to do any more Naruto versus Toby for right now because we're going to focus on some other stuff. Uh, we're going to have this like I guess it's supposed to be a rousing moment where like Ino's dad uses his psychic telephone powers to send out a massive psychic text message to all the United Shinobi forces to be like, "You got it," and they love that. They're fucking amped, and he almost dies from doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
He's like, I'm gonna tell everybody about what's going on, and by the end of this, I am going to be tapped out.
yeah, yeah. No, okay, so I'll play devil's advocate here. I'm kind of shitting on it because it didn't super work for me, and this episode was a bit of a slog. But like, I get it. Like they, Naruto's doing well against one of the main villains. The Kage are doing all right against the other one, and this is good news. And we got a whole army that's spread out all over the place, and we've been using psychic boys to connect with them, and so it makes logical sense to say like, hey, we're doing well right now, and you should use that news to feel reinvigorated and to like sort of get back in the fight with your spirits high. All of this makes
Yeah.
sense and I approve of this message, but yeah, it's just the way that it's done here and the sort of like, I don't know, forced but ultimately stakes free drama of like this one character almost killing himself to give a non-essential message to the troops is like,
Oh,
okay.
I have a different point.
Hit me.
Look, there's anime fans of all types. Everybody is their unique little snowflake
Mhm.
inside of the anime blizzard that is a good thing ultimately. And look, some people are really, really into trains, and some people
Uh-huh.
are really, really into figuring out how cell phones work.
Okay.
So there is probably an anime fan that's just like, I love psychic telecommunication.
Uh-huh.
And these people, this episode's for you. Like it's a love letter to you people that are out there, the ones of people that you are, that love this psychic communication stuff. And I mean, like, it's definitely for you.
Uh-huh.
It didn't strike me as a good episode, but
Yeah.
for you, it may have.
Felt
Anyways,
like
let's get
skippable
into
content.
episode 331.
Yeah.
Eyes that see in the dark. If you loved table setting before, let's get more table setting
uh,
now. Um, First of all, we have Konohamaru and his friends running around, being stupid,
yeah, being
as they
unnecessary
usually are.
additions to the story.
Yeah, we get Karine, who is trapped inside of a cell, and we have a gripping moment where the people that are her captors play cards. Um,
It's true.
and then
She's
we
she's
cut to
she's doing a trick on them, but it doesn't come to fruition on this episode. And maybe we could have saved this for later, or it could have been an email. I don't
yeah.
know.
I think that those two red shirts are they're unswayed also because they're having a a, a a slow build up to their gay romantic relationship where they play
Oh,
cards together
that's fun.
and learn to fall in love.
New heated rivalry just dropped.
Yeah. And then we get a cut to Jugo and Sugetsu. They're going to be running around Orochimaru's hideout and thinking back to fun times when they were separated and then brought back together, and then when they fought against that big giant tailed beast,
Uh-huh.
and how they were all friends running together
Yeah.
and fighting against stuff, and literally saying the phrase. I got so fucking mad when this happened. They went down there to go look for stuff. They broke through a wall for some reason, and then he's like, just by chance I happened upon this scroll that's going to answer everything in a way that you need to know. And I'm just like, that is the laziest story writing beat I have ever seen in the show.
They're also playing
Hate it.
on like tired old villain tropes of like this is like these three characters brought together by Sasuke in a sort of semi-random way. They've never gotten along with each other super well, but they are allies, and they have been allied with one another. And yeah, this is just like Jugo and Suigatsu sniping at each other for no clear reason. And then Jugo literally tries to kill Suigetsu with a big strong punch because they got into it while walking down a hallway, which seems more of like a therapy situation than anything, if you ask me. And then like, yeah, also Suigetsu is periodically just liquid, so like I don't know if punching him to death is really an option. And then yeah, because they decided to be so antagonistic towards each other despite being teammates who are here on a mission for their team, they punch a hole in a wall randomly to find a secret compartment that they didn't know was there, to find a MacGuffin. Like, it's just not, this is not compelling content.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of you running around in the original Zelda games and just dropping bombs against walls just in case they might turn into a secret passage.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Like you found it, I guess. But anyways, Sasuke is also running around. He is ostensibly looking for Naruto, but he is also happening to run into Itachi, and then he's gonna be like, he also like kills a white Zetsu.
Yeah,
and he's annoyed with it.
He finds some white Zetsu who tell him there's a war on, and I'm like, how did you miss it, babe? Like,
yeah,
where have you been?
My favorite thing about this, though, is that he sees Itachi, and he runs after Itachi, and he's like, tell me all these things, and Itachi's like, not right now, and he's like, stop fucking telling me that!
This is so funny, too, because I guess this is pushing us into episode 332, because that's the brunt of where Itachi says no to Sasuke, but it's just like, you're literally dead. Like... How much longer are we really going to have the opportunity for you to answer these questions later? You're a reanimated corpse. Like, let's get to it or not.
He's the big brother version of a dad who doesn't know how to answer his son, so he's just like going to keep on telling him that just like, when you're a little older.
Yeah, it's just, I get it. Itachi is like, I'm doing my thing. I'm going to go do that thing because it's the top priority right now. But it's just a little senseless. Like, okay, Sasuke is not trying to fight him. They've done that. He's dead because Sasuke won in their fight. So I think they've moved past that as a pair, and that seems pretty apparent. Sasuke doesn't really threaten him. They don't try and attack each other. Sasuke's literally just like, I've got questions, and Itachi's like, new phone who dis, and then uses his crows to be like, you can't follow me because there's crows in your way, which is dramatically underestimating the person who killed you, but whatever. And just like, it's just chat on the way. It's possible.
It's like his fucking pocket full of sand technique from fucking like King of the Hill, where it's instead of a pocket full of sands, it's just crows.
Yeah. Pocket crows.
Yeah, pocket crows. Anyways, that takes us into episode 332, A Will of Stone, and then 333, The Risk of the Reanimation Jutsu. These two are going to have two different big fights that are happening. Fights, I use in quotes. One of them is an actual fight. Yeah. The other one is two mooks running through the forest until they finally run into something that they want to fight.
Yeah.
So let's cover the non-important one first. Which turns out to be the five Kages fighting against Madara, which is going to turn into something of like, they are fighting a war of attrition against somebody who cannot die.
Right.
And he is so powerful that he is basically every one of his casual attacks against them is something that is so devastating that all five of them are almost killed every time. The first time is he creates a giant forest. The next time he creates the plants that are emitting this spore or this pollen out of these giant flowers that is so devastating to you that you can't even be around it. Then when he knocks them out of the air, he's going to light the pollen and the forest on fire with a giant fire jutsu that like traps them underneath the wood and almost kills them. Except for Onoke is like, I'm waking up and using this insanely powerful particle style to cut away everything around me. Because he was almost too old to use his ability, but he found the will of the ninja inside of himself, or I guess the will of the stone, which is like their version of the ninja thing, which when it starts out, it's like it's like that old thing about like having patience where you're like polishing a stone over and over again until the stone turns into has a reflection on the outside of it, which is like I don't know if it's Japanese or another Asian culture's tradition. I think it is Japanese though, but like it's like this over and over, like a ball of mud you polish over and over and over again until it turns into like a shining rock that you can see a reflection in. It turns into like this really beautiful thing, and it proves that like when you put enough time and effort into something, it will eventually turn into something important. And I think that there's a cool moment that they could have had with that, but instead they don't take enough time, and instead you just watch him stare at a rock a couple of times and be like, I'm looking at this rock and remembering how I wanted to be that rock.
I will say for the flashback moment, he's doing the rock polishing thing when he's younger. And I believe at the time Tsuchikage is like, this is our sacred rock. It's a special rock and you're polishing it. And Onoki is complaining about having to polish it because it's taking too goddamn long. And then the Tsuchikage like picks up the rock and throws it in the water feature nearby, which is covered in rocks. And Onoki's like, well, you just threw the special rock in there and now I can't tell which one is the special rock because I didn't polish it enough. And the Tsuchikage pulls out a different rock and places it on the pedestal where the previous special rock had been. And it's like, that rock wasn't special. It's just a rock. It's made special by the lore that we give it. And that's the important thing that you need to cultivate. And that's why you're doing this like respectful thing, because the stories that we tell have an effect on the world around us, even if they're based on a bit of a white lie. And I really like that concept of like sometimes the symbol is the important thing and not the actual object. And I think that's a really cool moment that then translates to the present day where Onoki is fighting to stay conscious and sees a nearby rock, and it gives him the sort of surge of willpower that he needs to launch his attack that frees them from the blazing inferno they're trapped in. It mostly works, but it's like, as much as I thought that that flashback was a perfectly fine flashback, the seeing a rock to give you strength isn't like the emotional catharsis I'm looking for here.
You didn't sell me here on this.
Yeah.
Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, like I
Um,
actually enjoyed that flashback, but then the connection to the present was a little bit milk toast for me.
yeah. So here's the other thing that's going to happen. It's going to be revealed that not only is Madara back, but he's also been fused with the body and I guess the cells of the first Kage, um, of the Hidden Leaf, who was argued as like the most powerful ninja, and that's why he's able to use wood style and all this kind of stuff. And Tsunade is going to be very upset about it, to the point where she is going to reveal that she has all of these different precepts of the medical ninja
Uh-huh.
field. And when she uses her final ability, she gets to ignore all of those things of a medical ninja,
Yeah, I've got
which is
notes.
just like, yeah. Yeah, she's just like, yeah, it's to do no harm except for when I want to do harm.
Yeah,
Um,
it's understandable that she's pissed because this is her ancestor that is now grafted as a face onto Madara's shoulder, which is so anime,
Oh
and
yeah,
I
and
love it.
Madara also gets to be shown as being a complete misogynist.
Yeah, out of
So
nowhere,
that's fun.
which is weird. I'm like, I guess he's from an another time, literally. So like, sure, but yeah, this is just I would say, other than like the sort of passive misogyny present in the way that the creator writes certain characters, there's this is not a world that really has a major distinction between men and women. Like, tacitly, the women are generally the weaker support characters on any given team, but that's really more of a unrealized misogyny of the creator than it is some sort of truth about the world in which they live. And otherwise, like, there's no real reason why men are or should be expected to be stronger or more capable than women in this world. So yeah, Madara starts talking mad shit about her being just a woman, and it feels like it comes out of nowhere. It's so
Yeah,
strange.
yeah.
So
I was not a fan of
no,
that.
I hate that. And then yeah, Tsunade goes on this like way too long explanation of the three rules for all medical ninja, while also reminding us that Tsunade is the one who came up with the idea for medical ninja, which just, like, okay, Madara is old, is from long enough ago that he should be dead, and obviously being resurrected for this fight here has confirmed that he was indeed dead. Hashirama who is, fused into his body, first Hokage, also dead. We are currently on the fifth Hokage, that's Tsunade. So we're not that many administrations past these people, so they are old enough to have been, like, there's no reason they would be alive anymore from just the course of nature, but we're also not that far out. That said, it's weird to me that Tsunade is the person who came up with maybe there should be doctors. And that's just the fact that she reminds me of this is just like, oh yeah, why did they not think of this before she came along? And then because
Yeah.
she decided that doctors are a thing that should exist, she also got to make the rules for how doctors work. And of course, we're talking specifically about doctors that go out into the field. So maybe I'm being a bit of a shit ass, but like, yeah, so her rules are basically like medical ninjas shouldn't do the fighting because that's not really why they're there. They should also be the last people alive because if they get killed first, then they can't do the medical stuff. And some of that is about like not throwing yourself into harm's way. I don't really remember these rules as being anything of like a sort of it's a war crime to kill the doctors first so much as it is a directive for the medical ninja themselves to like prioritize themselves correctly and not get swept up in the action when their teammates are the ones that are supposed to be doing that part. But yeah, then
Like a tactical maneuver.
yeah, then she's like, there's a secret fourth rule, and that rule is ignore the preceding rules, and the people who are allowed to do that fourth rule are me. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you don't have to make a rule for that. You can just ignore them. You made the rules in the first place. I don't know why you had to do this whole song and dance.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's only when she uses her technique that is stupid regeneration strength technique,
Yeah,
where
ultimate
she's just gonna
Wolverine
punch
style.
Madara really hard. Yeah, then Madara's gonna stab her, and then Madara is going to be confused why she's able to break off the blade that's stuck within her and stab him back with it.
Yeah.
And then she's gonna reveal that she can re-heal at like Wolverine speeds.
Uh huh.
Um, but we're not going to really see the end of this because they're going to do some staring at each other. The Kage are going to get ready to try to fight more against Madara. And then we're going to cut to
Well,
Sasuke.
what talk about the way that we leave them is that they land a good blow on Madara. They think they've trapped him, and then it turns out that they trapped a wood clone, and that they
Mm-hmm.
have basically made no progress in the fight because the thing they were fighting wasn't really him. But then the Kage are like, well, we forced you to make a clone, didn't we? So you're struggling more than you'd like to let on. And he's like, well, it is 5-1. So I'm not going to really feel bad about you pushing me to that point. But since you bring it up, 5-1 odds are interesting. And then he makes 5 clones for each of the Kage so that we leave this fight with each of them facing 5 of the person that they've been teaming up in a group of 5 to barely achieve parity with. So that's fun.
Yeah. So it's not looking great for the home team. Anyways,
Yeah.
um, Sasuke is and Itachi are going to run up on Kabuto. They're going to basically tell Kabuto that he's not doing the right thing and he needs to release his jutsu. And then Kabuto is going to be like, "Look at my long tongue," and then the episodes are over.
Yeah, basically we find out that Kabuto there is sort of like a reverse kill switch involved in this reanimation jutsu where Kabuto has to release the jutsu and killing him does not meet that condition. So
Yeah,
Itachi has come here to fight Kabuto into submission and force him to release the jutsu. Sasuke tagged
yeah, with
along.
his Tsukiyomi.
Yeah, Sasuke tagged along. Itachi is going to inexplicably speak his plan out loud at full volume in front of the person they're about to enact the plan against. So either what the fuck or that plan is a trick. I guess time will tell. And
Yeah,
yeah, that's the goal. They basically are like, we this reanimation jutsu is a scourge and we need them to undo it, which will essentially once cause an immediate one side wins in the war, because it will just leave all the nations of the world versus 2 guys. And so that's good. But yeah, Sasuke's like, well, I'll help out. And then he throws some shuriken, and Itachi's like, no, you can't. You have to leave him alive. But it's cool. Itachi and Sasuke are going to fight together. That's cool. That's a first in the series. And they're gonna try and get Kabuto, who's all snakified because of Orochimaru, and they're gonna have to bring him in alive, which is fun. And if they do that, then the fight with Madara will end by default. There's a lot of good hanging threads here. I feel weird about these episodes because I kind of didn't love them, but the little, like every little part of them that sort of matters and moves the story forward is interesting. But I don't know that they like super landed for me overall. Plus, we got to watch that really good thing before we watched these.
Yeah. So with a full table set, we are going to leave Naruto and stick with us after these credits, and we'll talk about what's coming on next week. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Blake and Spencer Get Jumped. If you're interested in finding more episodes of our show, you can join us over at getjumped.buzzsprout.com. It has all of our links for our social media and for our Discord as well if you want to get involved and start chatting with us. Also, if you are interested in more content like Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, or you just want to read random musings on Blake's blog, you can go over to thegeeklygrind.com. You can get all of our episodes there, as well as weekly content from Blake's blog. All right, see you next time.
Next time on Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, we're watching Bleach episodes 132 through 135. And for those of you who aren't patrons, we'll be coming back the week after that with Jujutsu Kaisen episodes 48 through 51.
Is that what we're covering?
Well, I don't.
Is that correct?
I
this
don't
week,
need you
Blake?
to get in my face about that right now on air.
And
God.
this week on Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, Blake announces the correct stuff that's coming on next
How
week.
dare you?